All right, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to this video. My name is Cara Janelle. As you see by the title, it is called My 2024, A Year of Operating in True Faith. I've made a video kind of like this before a few years back, which I'll link below. And in that video, I was really just talking about, all the things that God pulled me through. And as much as God pulled me through this year, as I even talked about in one of my more recent past videos, the things I was facing and the things I was going through, um, this year has really been a year of operating in true faith, a year of really holding on to the promises of the Lord, and a year of really not only the promises that He's given in His Word, but like specific promises that He's made unto me. Right now, my favorite verse in the Bible at this time, which will probably change tomorrow because I have a lot of favorite verses, but is in Luke chapter 1, verse 45. It says, "And blessed is she that believed, for there shall be a performance of those things which were told her from the Lord." And I just love that verse. But there also comes a time, like in our faith, as we grow in faith, a lot of times when, well, I can speak to me personally, when I first started serving God, like I seen, wondrous acts. I seen and I knew that He was with me. It was a fact. I could feel it. I could see it in everything that I was going through, how He kept pulling me out of situations. And as much as I see that now, there comes a time where there's a testing of your faith. And the Bible even lets us know this. And that is located in James chapter 1, verse 2 through 6. It says, "My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience." So there's going to come a time in this walk, like, where there's going to be a trying of your faith to the point where it's like, okay, God, I know you said this. I know your word tells me this. And you have to get tried. You have to get tested. Like, okay, are you really going to believe this? Are you really going to, you know, walk by faith and not by sight, even when everything's looking crazy, even when it doesn't look like it's going to work out, even when it looks like the things that God promised you aren't going to come to pass? Are you going to still trust me? Are you going to still trust my word? Are you still going to believe in what it is that I've told you? And that's like a testing of your faith. And all throughout this year 2024, I really felt like it's been so much testing of my faith, even in situations where it's like, okay, I know God opened the door for me to have this, or to have this job, or to have this vehicle, whatever the case is, and then something comes against it and attacks that particular situation. It's like, okay, well, God, when you blessed me with this, I knew it was you. When, I gave you glory and I gave you honor for these doors that you opened for me, so why are things, going the way that they're going? And it's not always just an attack of the enemy, but a lot of times it's like God is testing our faith, trying our faith. And in this year, it's really been a year of operating in true faith, operating in, believing God and trusting God regardless of what it may seem like. And we see this all throughout the Bible, to be honest. It's all throughout the Bible. You can pick anyone, but particularly when you think about Job, when he went through everything that he went through, he didn't turn his back on God. He didn't give up on God. He was still like, even when you really read the whole book of Job, and you see there's times he was battling in his mind, like, Lord, I don't even know what I did. Lord, I don't even know why things are going this way. But it's always like he summed it up with still trusting God and still believing in God. We see it with David. When you read all throughout the Psalms, he's calling on the Lord, like, Lord, save me from my enemies, save me from these situations. He's calling on God in the midst of all those things that he was going through. He's still believing in God and trusting in God and calling on the Most High God to work out his situation. When we read in the book of Daniel and we see what Daniel and his friends went through, it was like, although they were facing all these obstacles, they were facing bowing down to other gods, serving idols. When they were facing all these things, they still chose to follow God and believe in him, and they chose not to bow to anything else but to serve their God and to believe in him. And this is why I think, for me, 2024 has really been a year of operating in true faith, because it's like, of course, we all can make decisions. We can all can make choices of where we want our life to go and what we want our life to do. But regardless of every single thing that I went through, by choice or forced into, it's always like, okay, I'm looking at God like, okay, you know, Lord, when are you gonna come through? What are you like? What's happening here? Because I'm still putting all my faith and my trust in God. And this year has really been, just a year of operating in true faith and believing in God regardless of the circumstances. And I can't get up in here and say that I've been perfect. And I can't get up on here and say that I've been right and I made the right decision every time. But regardless, God has always come through. And, you know, I haven't even been making videos lately because I even found myself like, I don't even think I'm the vessel for this. I don't even know if I'm what you called me to be, Lord. I don't even know if I can do what it is that you called me to do, because I find myself in these situations where I'm like, how? How can I be, what it is that you said I should be, or what it is that you called me to be, and I'm in this situation, or this and this is going on in my life? It's always that fleshly mind that gets in the way, which is why the Bible tells us, be not conformed to the ways of the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you could prove the good, perfect, and acceptable will of God. So when I look through it through my fleshly eyes and think, okay, Lord, I'm like a flawed vessel. Like, I don't be feeling like I'm the one that should be getting up on here making these type of videos. Like, I'm like a flawed vessel, but then, the Lord will speak through me to me in different ways, be it in his word or however. And so, like, look, there's many people in the Bible that were flawed or didn't think that they could do what it is that God called them to do. And even we know Moses even objected. He's like, no, go get somebody else, basically. Jonah objected and ran. But as much as we have free will, God also has a way of causing people to submit to what it is that he requires. And I find that in myself often, like in this year, like as much as I thought like, okay, I'll do my own thing, or I could just, put God on the back burner or whatever the case is, he always finds a way to get his perfect will done. Because his will is going to come to pass regardless of, what it is that we think, what it is that he's determined to be done. It's going to get done, period, regardless of, whatever. So I found that in my 2024 a lot. I'm not going to really go into the details of like all the things that happened in 2024. I'll link a prior video where I talk about, going to jail and jobs and cars and all these things that happen. But ultimately, what I really learned in this year is, there's going to be a time where there's a testing of your faith. There's going to be a time where God is really going to let your faith be tested to see what's really in your heart. And of course, I'm just talking about my personal experience. Like, in the word, there's a lot of talk about the heart, and there's really, really something particular about your heart posture. And I feel like in my situation, the testing of my faith is like really to test not only my faith but my heart also. Like, okay, are you going to operate in the fruits of the spirit when you're faced with, different type of situations? So, another thing that I really wanted to point out in this year was like not operating just in true faith, but operating in the fruits of the spirit, and then submission unto God. Like I was just saying, he calls people kings, Pharaoh, Nebuchadnezzar. He calls these people to submit to his will, and all these things happen in order for that to happen. But ultimately, they had to submit to the will of God. So that's another thing that I learned really about like submission. And what I've really been learning lately is when I just willingly submit, like just give in immediately, like, okay, Lord, I hear you, your Holy Spirit tugging on me to do this or to say this or whatever the case is. When I just give in willingly and submit, that things go a lot smoother than trying to resist. But nevertheless, I really feel like 2024 was a year of operating in true faith, maybe for me just specifically, but I'm sure maybe some other people that come across this will, feel what I'm saying. But yeah, until next time, I'm Cara Janelle. Bye.